in if you're unmuted. And we are going to have such a fun day today talking about processes. Oh my gosh, I know y'all are like, yes, I can't wait. But it really is a fun thing, because I think especially for you founders, this can be something that's really fun, you know, mainly because I think when you're starting something new, it can show you where you have room for growth and where the opportunities really lie for your business. You know, we have strategically gone through this by creating your business plans and then being able to you know, build on that. The next step really is about developing these processes that have a start and end point for you, and then are going to define your kind of like strategic way you're going to guide your business from, you know, on a day-to-day basis. So the next step is next week. What we'll do is we will take your revenue streams and create what I refer to as the granular plan of what you do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to reach your goals. And that will be very helpful as well. And then beyond that, we will get to the next step, which is delegating and automating some of the things that you want to happen in your business. So the plan is where, you know, you set out the big dreams, the big goals that you have. And now that you've done that, now we can start with implementation of that plan. And one of the best ways to do that is to come up with some processes that are going to help you really be able to implement it. And then, like I said, next week we'll go through the granular plan of exactly what it is that you need to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to reach your bigger goals. So let's talk about, you know, now that I'm actually talking about it with you guys in the way that we have it, I'm wondering if we shouldn't reverse the two for you. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this on the fly because all of my content is written out for the processes, but for you founders, I'm wondering if it wouldn't actually be more helpful. Does anyone have a preference? No, you don't have a preference. Okay, great. Then let's do the processes because I have that all written out. Nope, don't want to do that. I'm going to follow my gut here. Okay, it's just different for you guys. You know, I've already delivered this content once this morning, and now knowing it really in depth and all the questions that I got, I'm just thinking for you guys, it's going to be much more helpful if you actually know, you know, what you need to do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, and you've defined, you know, in granular detail what you're going to do. Whereas the accelerators, they're already living their business day in, day out. They have for years. So they can look at those processes and start implementing them right away. Whereas you're not even going to know which processes you want to implement or which ones that you want to carry forward with until you know what this granular plan is. So for you guys, it is a little reverse. So if it's cool with you, I'm going to go on the fly and just talk to you about something that I do with business owners. And I've done this. So if you have your business plan handy, much of this process is about creating the visual representation of what your business plan actually is. And so the goal is to be able to take what your ultimate vision for your business is and pull it all the way down and ask enough questions so that you find yourselves spending time on the things that make you the most money, that move your business forward in the fastest way. And you can only know that if you start with the end in mind, and then we work our way backwards. So visually, we're always starting with this final goal, right? For you, I want you to think very specifically. Again, we've done some of this work on our one-on-one calls with each of you, but this final goal is about the representation, right now, at least, the monetary value of what you want to be earning. So I want you to think towards the end of 2020, and let's come up with, right, we came up with before of this idea of like, oh my gosh, I would love at the end of life, right, to earn $5 million a year and have all these revenue streams and all of that. Great. What about the end of 2020 now, so that we can come up with this granular plan of what you're going to do from now until the end of the year to begin reaching that bigger overall goal? So what would be your monetary goal from now until the end of the year revenue wise? I want you to write that down. So I'm always going to work in easy round numbers so that I can do math, because otherwise I'll struggle. So if you were to write out, that's $100,000 in revenue between now and the end of the year, right? We have roughly about 9 months left. So we're always going to look at that in a very finite period of time. Then what are the revenue streams that you currently have that generate that kind of revenue? What are the at least 3 revenue streams that we've discussed or that you came up with on your business plan that lay out how you make money? So if it is Caitlin W., it would be, right, social media marketing, consulting, right? And then the third is the product-based business. I'm gonna write products. Okay. So you're gonna take those 3 revenue streams and you're gonna think of those as your bigger overall goals. Does anybody need help in coming up with theirs? Everybody know what theirs are? All right. So from there, then the question is, okay, so we're always looking at then what are the actions or the things that need to be done in order to generate revenue in this area? What are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, guys. What are the 5 smaller goals that we can set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I generally just draw them out like this. What are the 5 smaller goals that we can set underneath each of those revenue streams? Those goals need to be also in the format of SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So just to play with other people's businesses, let's say one of the revenue streams is now not consulting, but it is home organizing. You know, one of the very distinct SMART goals for you could be something like acquire 5 clients. create marketing plan. I've lost my creativity today. There's two of them. The idea is that you come up with 5 bigger goals so that you can then take these and say, okay, if the goal is to acquire 5 clients, what are then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 action steps that drive that particular goal? So this is always my beautiful drawing, but this is just basic and how it typically looks. So then if she were to say, okay, well, how am I going to drive 5 clients to work with me? What is it that I need in order to make that happen? Well, I need a list of potential clients. What else do I need in order to acquire 5 clients? Well, I need a pricing list. What else do I need to acquire 5 clients? I might need a lead page or a sales page to show them. I might need a strategy or a framework, right, that I'm selling them. That's your USP, your unique selling proposition, right? And then, so that's 4. Let's go down. So, but how do you know where you're going to spend your time, right? How do you know which one of these you want to start with? How you would break these down even further? Well, you're going to start with the monetary goal to help you decide that. And again, a lot of this comes from you and your gut and where you want to be spending your time. So if the overall goal is $100,000 in revenue, you want to ask yourself, well, what percentage of time do I want to spend on each of these revenue streams? How do I want to spend majority of my time? Where do I think right now I'm going to be able to make the biggest impact, right? Perfect example, Caitlin, Elizabeth, and I were talking, since we have 2 Caitlins, we're talking the other day, and we were discussing, well, you know what, wholesale accounts probably aren't like logically going to be taking in a ton of new inventory and new clients with everything going on right now. So direct to consumer, that area of her business might be where she wants to allocate majority of her time and majority of her revenue, because that's something that's within her control. And so if she were to divide up the 100,000, she would say, you know what, I'm going to put 50% or 60% of the pie, of 100% of the pie, into what I have control over, which is the direct to consumer revenue stream. So same thing with you, Nina. You may decide, you know what, organizing and starting this new area is what excites me most. It's what gets me going. So that's where I want to put the bulk of my allocation of revenue, so that I know that I can spend majority of my time on that. And that is where I'm thinking majority of my revenue. which is going to then dictate my cost, right, of the pricing and how many clients I need to have in order to meet the revenue projections. So let's just say you're going to, we got to go back to Caitlin because I have that written out up here. Caitlin W. So if she puts 50% of her energy or 50% of her time on social media marketing, then she knows she needs to generate $50,000 of income from that. If she says then the consulting aspect is only going to be 10%, she's allocating for the next 9 months $10,000 of revenue. And if products are going to then be 40%, she has $40,000 of revenue. Does that all make sense? So now she's looking down and saying, okay, if I need to have $10,000 and 10% of my revenue from consulting, and one of the goals is to acquire 5 clients, then let's make sure the math on that works. 10,000 divided by 5 is $2,000. So if she had 5 clients paying her $2,000, then she'll reach her particular goal. So she doesn't have to spend a ton of time on that, right? Those action steps can be done, but as she's allocating her priorities and her time and her day, she can maybe select one of the 5 goals that's under this tab and say, you know what, I'm going to take one of those and I am going to do these 4 action steps relative to that goal in the month of June. The other goals can be put towards July, September, right? November, and even January. Because she's already met her income threshold for those, right? So what we tend to do as business owners is we say, oh my gosh, I have so many things that I need to do. I need to create a marketing plan that pushes my consulting. I need to create a marketing plan that pushes my social media. I need to create a marketing plan for the products. I've got to do all of those things. And so you dive into an area of your business and then you work really hard to do all of those things, but they don't create all the same results, right? They aren't all weighted equally. So you could have waited on creating a full drawn out marketing plan for your consulting aspect of your business. It just isn't necessary right now because it's not driving the bulk of your revenue, right? You don't need a full marketing plan for your consulting business right now because it's only going to make $10,000. Do you need a full marketing plan to make the $10,000? No. You've already come up with a goal and the 5 action steps that you can take that are going to create those clients. Check. Don't have to worry about taking any other actions relative to that part of your business for a moment. Then we can look and say, okay, strategically then, what are the 5 goals that I can set out that's going to generate the $50,000, the biggest bulk of my revenue, that's going to drive the social media marketing? If I am writing out my priorities, right, on a daily basis and looking at my calendar to say where I need to spend my time over the course of the next week, the majority of your time and energy would need to be reflected by where the bulk of your revenue is coming from. And so you're not going to willy-nilly say, ooh, I found a great idea on social media, or another class I could take, or a, haphazard, I can't even tell you the things that people have come up with lately to tell me like, this, I'm so excited, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, why are we doing that? Why are we wasting time doing that? It does not matter at all. not going to make you any money. And here is how you're going to know the answer, because everything you do from now until the end of the year ought to be or come from this sheet, not from what someone else is randomly advertising to you, including myself, on Instagram. So social media marketing, you can then come up with, again, or whatever your 5 beautiful goals are on each of these. And the question always is, what are the goals that I can set? Write this out. That drive this revenue. What are the goals that I can set that drive this revenue? So you're going to set 5 of those under each of the 3 areas of your revenue streams. Now, funny enough, the sign of a quarantine birthday, I spent time looking for this actually last night, trying to find someone else that laid it out this way, this granular plan. I was Googling like granular business plans, like taking it down. I could not find anything that lays it out simply like this. And this is all you need to have, is this visual to be able to remind yourself, no, the shiny penny is not going to take me in the right direction. All I need to do is set these particular goals when I'm in, right, this focused mindset, focused on the revenue and then the actions that drive the revenue. So after the 5 goals are set, then you're asking yourself, which one of the 5 goals will make the biggest impact first? And then the action steps are going to be 5 very clear cut action steps that you can take that will help you reach that particular goal. And if you want to go all the way through and write down action steps that drive every single one of these goals, by all means, go for it. I actually did that myself with mine, and I wanted to have that out because it gave me some sort of peace to be able to look at the shiny pennies that other people are throwing at me, or other questions that, you know, I would see come up in email campaigns and things like that, to say, oh, okay, I am going to get to that. I am going to create a sophisticated email marketing plan, but that isn't my number 1 priority. I don't have to do that today. I feel okay about that because I've already thought through that, and I've delegated it or assigned it to another time frame in my business. It's not priority number 1 right now. Make sense? So that it creates the space for you, which I needed to do that, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to get to that. It's not as though I don't know that's, you know, exists. And so then what I liked to do was then say, okay, let me create some sort of ideal flow here, so that I then take the information. Just June. Thinking through what month it is. So sophisticated, guys. So sophisticated. You're going to see. This is the other very sophisticated way. I then carry the information over to say, okay, here then are the goals and the tasks that I am then setting aside, right? This information that I have written all out, I am then assigning it like a workflow to a month so that I know, again, I'm going to get to that. That's when I'm developing that. That's when I'm working on that particular aspect of my business. That's when I project I will have, right, already the revenue from the consulting, right, by, and then you can block out too to say, okay, if it's $50,000, if you really want to get into it, over 9 months, then that is 55. Oh, that's like good luck or something. $5,555.55 off of social media, Caitlin, or whoever. 9 months of $50,000 broken up on a monthly basis is $5,000 in revenue. And then the 10,000 obviously is just going to be 1,100. This is really good. Is that right? Yeah. $1,111.11. This is good. Off of consulting or whatever it is. And if you were to generate then $4,444.44 off of your third revenue stream, each month, not that it will always flow like that, but that can get you into that goal setting mode, right? $5,555 from the 50% revenue stream, $4,444 from the product for the second largest revenue stream, and $1,100 from the third revenue stream. So now you have what your monthly goals are in revenue. Which is 11,110. Okay. So, not saying that it will all flow like that perfectly. I've never had it happen like that. However, that can still be the goal. So if you are moving over then the action, like the smaller goals that drive that revenue and the action steps. See, we want a monthly, weekly, and daily plan. So now we have our monthly because we have our revenue goal, which is 11,110. So there's our monthly goal. Our weekly goal are going to be set by these 5, right, areas of concentration that are our smaller goals. The smaller 5 action-oriented goals that you set that drive the revenue. Those are often going to be weekly and monthly too, but weekly and monthly goals. So the actions of like acquire 5 clients, right? Create the marketing plan, those things. You will pull those over and decide which one of those you want to do when. So after you've written them out, you can say, oh, okay, well, you know what, the acquire 5 clients is going to go in June. So what are the action steps that I need to take? If that is the first week of June, what are the action steps that I need to take in order to make that happen? Well, I don't have a place to write this, but I'm going to make it ugly and write it down here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then, so I scratched this out because I said there are 4 weeks in June, right? So week 1, I'm going to work on really acquiring 5 clients. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 action steps that we wrote down that can help you do that. The daily actions will be the things that you wrote down that can be done to make this happen. Then week 2, you can pick the next goal, and so on and so forth. Make sense? So that you're essentially taking all of the smaller goals that really drive revenue, you're inserting them into a monthly plan so that you're choosing, when am I going to do them? And then you are taking the action steps that you already wrote down that you know drive revenue in that area, that will drive growth, and you're writing down what day, daily, what day of the week you're going to do those. Imagine going into a whole month where you had laid out strategically, well in advance, how you were going to move your revenue forward, week by week, with action steps that support that revenue growth. And you walked into a week and all you had to say to yourself is, all I have to do is sit down and get to work. That is what this is intended to do for you, because we do not capture our time back in hours. We do not capture it back in days. We capture it back in minutes. More time is wasted by entrepreneurs trying to figure out what to do than the time is wasted actually spending, you know, all the time in the world, just, you know, performing the wrong actions, right? So at the end of the day, it's about helping you create this really granular plan that lays out for you exactly what your priorities are. And yes, are there going to be things that come in the way? Absolutely. But does that now upset your whole apple cart? No, it doesn't. What it allows you to do, right? Structure creates flexibility. Structure then allows you to move and shift some things around so that you then know, hey, you know what? I've already got a plan next month to create revenue. I've already got a plan that's going to help me. I just need to now shift everything back 1 week or shift everything back 2 weeks, right? It, instead of feeling, right, where we swing the pendulum to the other end and we say to ourselves, oh my gosh, my whole business is falling apart. I have no control. I have nothing to do. Most of the time that is due to a lack of, you know, foreshadowing of what's to come. So to me, what has always been incredibly helpful is, and the number one thing, especially when I was doing one-on-one coaching all of the time, every single time I would have an entrepreneur come back to me and say, I'm lost. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. We would come back to this process every time, because what they had lost was really just the hold on their day. They had lost and given, right, the power out to someone else and spent most of their day responding to fires instead of controlling their day and doing the actions that drive revenue for them. When you spend the bulk of your day responding to fires from everyone else, you will never make money, because you're doing everything to help someone else's business make money instead of your own. You've got to take these tasks, put them in first, right? And then, I'm not saying that this has to be all day, every day, but you should begin your day with these things. Then you can open it up for the remainder of the things, right, that need to just be done, that are simply tactical, that are rote actions. But these are also the things where it can open you up for next week's discussion, where we go into all of the processes and we start talking about, you know, creating processes around your marketing plan, creating processes around your sales plan. You need to know, right, where you're headed. And you need to know, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to create a sales plan in August, right? When I have projected that I am going to be spending much more time on the focus of sales then, while I spend the time in June and July, you know, perfecting my, I don't know, logo and my pricing list and marketing pieces. I don't know. But those processes, plus you want to be able, as you go along and you're coming up with some of these things, note, right, as you're doing them, what you're doing, so that they are things that we can begin to hire free interns, right, to begin to delegate, to begin to give some of these actions off to someone else. But we can't do that until we begin to see, well, what's our own granular plan? Where are we headed? Where do we want to be? What are we doing on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to get there? Now it's super well defined. Now you're not going to be asking yourself every Monday, like, what can I do? What in the world can I work on in order to create the growth in the business that I want to have? It's all answered for you. Okay, what questions do you guys have?
I guess I think I'm grasping it, but I feel like I need a visual. Is there going to be any type of like breakdown or something like that coming to us in an email, just kind of being like, okay, this is like kind of a mock example of like how much revenue you make and the revenue streams, and like kind of breaking it down, being just kind of, I guess, being like group one, here are your 5 action steps, then here are the 5 other action steps that lead into these, just to kind of like, I guess, I don't know, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. Mm-hmm. So just to kind of have a visual to like guide me.
Let me see. While I had a visual a while back that I created on Canva, and it was pretty pretty bad, but nonetheless, it was there.
I was like, anything helps. So
yes,
I mean,
exactly.
just to make sure that I'm like in the right direction and that my steps and everything are like lining up with my revenue and breaking down of the months and that sort of thing.
Oh, wait. Okay, let me see if I can share a little. I think actually this is in okay. I think these are already in the BRIMM worksheets in the I'm gonna share the screen. Hold on a sec. Oops, no. Okay. I think these are in the membership portal but let me show you. Okay, so these are intended to be the daily action worksheets that, but let me go back one. Let me see if it, no. Okay, so think of this as, I know I have another one, but and I'll try to find it, but think of this as your revenue stream where it says your assets. Think of this as, you know, this as your goal, sorry. And here are 2 revenue streams. I'll have to find, this is not the one that I wanted, but I know I have one that goes all the way down. But I know that this worksheet is in the member portal. As you would set the 5 goals, right? So here, 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 here. I've just done this so many times, it's like second nature to me. 2, 3, 4. Oh, God, that's so bad. My drawings are, you can definitely tell, Deb, I'm not an artist. Okay. Goals. Rev 1, goals. And then 1, 2. Right, it's revenue stream 1, 5 goals, choose one of the goals, create 5 particular action steps. So if you were to think of this as the revenue goal relative to this will be your monthly goal. You will then write these 5 particular smaller goals down. You will choose one of those as a weekly goal, and that can be carried over. Maybe it's 2 weeks worth of a weekly goal or 3 weeks worth of a weekly goal that it's going to take you. That doesn't matter, right? It's just the action of actually deciding, like, okay, you know what, if it's a bigger goal of acquiring 5 clients, but I need to do 7 actions in order to do that, to set that up, to make that possible, then that's really going to take me 2 weeks, and that's going to be the focus of my work, right? You have to do the time frame, but it's important to note the action steps that support that goal and put those actually into your calendar to say, okay, these are the daily things that I know if I do these, it's going to drive revenue. And then here is the worksheet that I had originally created a while ago to say, this is the one goal that I chose, or this is, you know, I had 2 goals that I'm working on, or 3 particular goals that I'm working on for this day, and I'm doing these action steps to support those. This is the ultimate outcome that I hope to achieve, right? What revenue stream are you supporting with these actions, so that it's reminding you of this revenue goal that you're supporting. But yeah, I'll look and see. I'll look and see where that other one is that looks a little bit better than that. And maybe I can get some of my lovely interns to create something that's much more beautiful than me with my little Canva boxes. But I'm always here too, so don't, I think it was in the workbook, now that I think about it. Hold on, let me just look and see the workbook that I wrote for my book. Here we go. And I can share that with you guys as well. Because it takes you through a lot of this process. I'm just not seeing it offhand, but it's in here somewhere. There's so much content in here, I don't even know. I'll find something to serve as a guide though. Okay. What other questions? I need to stop playing around in here.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I know one of our revenue streams, particularly with the product, is something that we're launching in the future. We want to do some promotions or some pre-sales, you know, starting end of summer. But right now our tasks, it's like there's a lot to execute before we get to the point where it's producing revenue. So I guess, how do you balance out your, you know, your months of goals so that you reach them in the right time, even though they might not be generating revenue while you're doing them, but they're to meet that goal, you know, say in 3 months.
Right. You work your way backwards. So take out that revenue right now and then project forward to look and see, okay, if it's not going to, if you're looking to launch that in October or November or whatever, then you're working your way backwards to say, okay, I'm only going to have revenue for that particular revenue stream for 4 months or 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll divide it up during that period of time. And then you're going to work your way backwards to say, okay, well, then what are the goals that need to happen in order for me to be able to reach that particular revenue goal? So if it's 40,000, right, and you've got 4 months, September, October, November, and December, it's got to sell 10,000 a month. What needs to happen in order for it? It's the same questions, just in a shorter period of time. So what needs to happen? What goals can I set to drive that revenue, right? So when you allocate your time to do them will be different, right? You can say, okay, I want to make sure that I push majority of my time to, you know, social media marketing and consulting between now and then, and not be doing a little bit at a time or whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. And do the bulk. And so that's already generating my revenue, sustaining me, so that then I know that in August, I'm doing the bulk of that work to get it done, because the actions, or I mean, the goals that I set with that are, you know, I don't know, again, I keep coming back to the same things, creating a marketing plan, creating a sales funnel, you know, acquire clients. Those things don't need to begin to happen until then. I would come out with a very long task list under each of those goals, same thing, and put those into the weeks of August, September, October, November, and December. It's the same thing. You're just putting it in, you're just shifting the time frame.
Yeah, I think I've had the tendency to focus on whatever's producing revenue at that moment. And so not like, I think by this, I will take the time to look at, okay, I need to accomplish this things to reach this goal at this time, so that I'll be, you know, biting off bits at a time, so that when it comes to that time where it can produce, it's ready. And it's not like, oh, darn, I kind of missed the window because I wasn't prepared.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. This is all about setting yourself up for success so that you can begin to learn what the flow is in your new business too, right? And that goes for all of you, is to say, okay, this is the way I think it's going to go. I think that I need to do these things. And so, you know, my revenue isn't going to begin until September. So I need to, and it's all about setting your expectations in the right way as well, right? So if you set yourself up for disappointment, then it just becomes a mindset game. You will talk yourself out of being in business very quickly, right? Because you're looking at it and you're going, how come I'm not earning what I thought I would earn? Or why am I not getting the revenue that I thought I would get? And why is this not all happening for me? And there are always very clear tactical answers to that. And it doesn't have anything to do with you are bad and terrible and shouldn't be in business. But yet that's what our mind ends up telling us, you know, quit while you're ahead, quit now, don't even try it. You're never going to get where you want to go. Well, a lot of this is also about playing the mental game, is about setting it out to say, I don't have to sit here and question myself every single day. I've already created the roadmap. And this roadmap was decided at a time where I was not in a mental freak out mode. I was not, frustrated with my business, right? We tend to force ourselves and try to force ourselves to, get into planning and to do all of that at a time when, we're panicked. This is having this laid out so that you strategically have it laid out month by month, almost week by week, so that you know what the actions are that drive success for you. Telling you, you are mentally saving yourself a tremendous amount of heartache. Was this helpful? Does it help you to say, okay, now I know what I need to do. I know that how I can create my roadmap. Okay. Yeah. Nina.
Yeah. Happy birthday, first of all.
Thank you.
Hope you had a good birthday. So you and I, we had our one-on-one call, and we may need to talk a little bit, offline too, but the more I've been thinking and kind of going through my business plan and just day to day as the new normal is the new normal too, I've realized that I do just want to dive into real estate, period.
Great.
And I don't want to do what I was thinking I was wanting to do, but I want to add it, add it as a marketing thing, but not, just like tips for getting your home ready to sell. So not doing organization at all, because I've realized that I just need, I have a harder time multitasking with certain things, especially with 2 young kids that are 5 and 7. And there's only so much time. And that's also a mindset thing too, and a schedule issue sometimes that I have. But I've realized that that's what I want to do. Just keep building what I'm doing, because I've added some more clients, thankfully. And summer is now our spring market, which in Dallas, spring market is our best selling market. So that's been exciting, but also my mindset dealing with my new clients has changed dramatically, of excitement more than, is this really what I want to do? So
clarity.
Thank God. Thank you for that. And I just feel like, is it okay just to have one because I'm going to have one revenue stream, and that's going to be selling real estate.
Yours is probably the only one I can think of in the world where I would say the answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, there's just really not a need to diversify in that particular area, but I'll keep thinking on it for the rest of the day, I'm sure. But I would say for you, instead of diversifying your revenue streams, what you picked up on is you're going to diversify the way that you pull in business and generate leads, which is exciting. It's like, I want to have, so your 3 would just be almost like diversifying the lead generation. Like, you're going to do it by holding yourself out as an, organizational expert. You're going to hold yourself out as, the real estate expert, and the fact that more than anyone else on, maybe the area that you're in, so that those can become the 3 avenues that you really want. And like, now, okay, you want to put in 10% of the, organizing into your plan, into the way that you, hold yourself out. 90% or 80% will be about homes. I don't know. And then, the other 10% will be about the area or something like that. But that's the way that for you, I would say, I would definitely say it's one revenue stream. But then the things that drive that are going to be really different. I mean, there are then same thing. Okay, well, if my ultimate goal is to sell houses, you're still going to have, I mean, you can just do it this way even. if you didn't do it that way, you could just hold it. If the goal is sell houses, you know, what creates that? What creates, you know, the ability to sell the homes? What are the three major things that move the needle for you on selling houses?
Okay.
And then those can be broken down into goals and action steps for sure.
Okay. Great. The business plan was super helpful, just diving into it even more. I mean, I've never done a business plan, and that was really hard to finish. But the more I dove into it within the group I'm with now, the more I had even more realization that, oh my gosh, we do so much. You know, I do so much too. And it just more clarity.
You have more of a unique selling proposition probably than you were giving yourself credit for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
and that's what I would challenge you to answer on those three areas then is, okay, well, what drives the sale of homes for me? What are the major things that that drive my revenue? Is one, knowing a lot of people. Is the other, you know, and then the goals are, okay, well then how can I drive that goal, right? And then it's, well, what are the action steps that then drive those smaller goals? So that, and we did break some of that down, but it's just a revising of that. Okay, well then it's, you know, if it's getting to know 100 people a month, or touching base with 100 people a month, so that you have these very small but concrete, smart goals set out for yourself. That also, it gives you the freedom to know, like, once I've done those things, check, I can go hang out with my kids.
Right.
I've done the revenue generating things, actions, and then I can be good. Whereas a lot of people are going to be spending maybe more time, but that time doesn't always lead to revenue. It's not productive. Busy and productive are two very different worlds.
That's
so
great.
This is about productivity.
Yeah. And, you know, we talked about weekly schedule, and it's just, I don't know why it's such a struggle. It's like so hard to like just sit down and just do it. And I know exactly what to do, but then the day ends, I'm like, it's 4:00. Oh my gosh, where did the day go? And then I'm staying up so much later to finish what the work I needed to do that would take me maybe 2 hours, 4 hours.
Yes. And that is all about that Sunday night planning. If we can take this and then apply the Sunday night planning to it, it will completely change your productivity. So you're assigning on Sunday night when these tasks get done during the day. You're assigning that 2-hour block from 9 to 11 or 8 to 10 and saying, this is when I get this work done. And then the rest of the day is open to responding to everyone else's, you know, fires and whatever. But that's why having not only the granular plan, but then assigning it to the month that you want to get it done. And then even another step in the process is then I haven't used this yet, but I just got it because I wanted to see if it was helpful. But it's Rachel Hollis's priority planner. I saw it at, and I'm all about like just trying different things for you guys. But she has a, you know, just today's plan, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, and you're just writing in there the actions that you're going to take. Maybe try that.
I have one of those calendars, so I should open it up and use it.
Exactly. It's hard, you know, and I think give yourself some grace. You know, it's very difficult to start something new like this. We are very resistant to it as human beings because we fear change. And we fear too, oftentimes when you're starting anything new, we fear that we won't get the ultimate results that we hope for, right? We fear that if we put the time in and we don't get what we hoped, that we're going to feel an insane amount of letdown, right? And so we stop ourselves. And if we never really put in all that we could, then we never really failed. And so, you know, give yourself some grace to realize, like, in the past, allowing that part of yourself to not give all that you could was a protective mechanism. And now that we know that, we can, you know, we can do differently. We can make strides to make different things happen. So now each time you feel that sense of resistance to creating the schedule, you can say to yourself, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm feeling the resistance to doing that. I must want to protect myself. Okay. Instead, I'm going to just sit with myself for 2 seconds, right? I mean, you would be amazed what sitting right there, 3 deep breaths, closed eyes, getting present, and then taking the action will do for you. Mm-hmm. So instead of just trying to force yourself through it, try sitting, closed eyes, the 3 deep breaths in your nose, out your mouth, and then say, okay, I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm just going to write out maybe like what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then if I feel empowered, then I'll do the next couple of days. But if not, I'll close it up and not do it. So that you can begin to build that muscle of being okay with the change of creating the schedule.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And feeling the freedom that comes with it. Okay.
That's good.
All right, good. Thank you guys. I appreciate you letting me go off script today and do something totally different. I hope it was helpful, and I can't wait for you guys to be able to use your granular plans to really get into action and do something daily that you know is helping you. So, love you ladies. Have a great rest of your day. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And I will talk to you later.